I'd like to call the Tuesday, August 11th board meeting to order. Renee, please note that all board members are present and I invite you to stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we have some board salutes.
Good evening, board. Congratulations to the Jeff High School Air Force Jrotc Academic Bowl team for qualifying to compete in the Academic Bowl Championships, which would have been held in Washington, D.C. The competition began with 490 teams. In the first round, it was narrowed down to 250 teams for the second round. Jeffersonville High School is one of 16 Air Force teams to make championship finals. We are very proud and excited for this group of cadets. Congratulations to the following team members: Ramsey Foley, Austin Lawhorn, Ariana Oliveria, Daniel Pryor, Aaron Sue, and Ryan Whitlock.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. I'm glad we finally got to recognize you guys. Thank you very much.
Good job, guys.
Also, the Afjrotc Region 5 winner. The board would like to recognize Cadet Ryan Whitlock for being the Afjrotc Region 5 winner for the Air Force Association Cadet Leadership Award. Cadet Whitlock was selected as the top cadet for the All Air Force Jrotc within the states of Indiana, Georgia, Illinois, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Nevada. He was one of the top 8 cadets in the nation, consisting of over 125,000 cadets. Congratulations.
Great accomplishment.
And one final board salute, the Afjrotc Distinguished Unit Award. The board would like to finally recognize the JHS Air Force Jrotc for being a distinguished unit for the 4th year in a row. Our unit completed all headquarters Jrotc required tasks and averaged at least 12 hours of community service per cadet. This year, the cadets gave back to the community with 1,061 hours. We'd like to recognize the leadership team, which consists of Cadet Ryan Whitlock, Cadet Autumn Goss, and Cadet Daniel Pryor. The Jrotc instructors, Colonel Bob Benning and Master Sergeant Christopher Manley. Congratulations to all of you.
Great job. Congratulations. And thank you, Colonel Benny. Thank you for everything you've done with the ROTC program there, Jeff. Hopefully you'll see you continue to do great things. Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Good job. Thank you.
This is the part where I say you all can stay if you'd like. Or if you want to go, you can. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Our first item is approval of the agenda. Board may have a motion.
Madam President, I move that we approve the agenda as submitted.
Thank you, Ms. Hutchinson. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Clayton. Any questions or comments? All right, all those in favor of approval of the agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, the agenda is approved. Next, we have approval of minutes from the previous meeting. Board, may I have a motion?
Madam President, I move that we approve the minutes from our previous meetings.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Buckwalter. Any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes from the previous meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, those minutes are approved. We have no public comments on agenda items. Next, we have the consent agenda. Board, may I have a motion, please?
Madam President, I move that we approve the consent agenda as submitted by the superintendent.
Thank you, Dr. Clayton. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Buckwalter. Any questions or comments on the consent agenda? I know we do have a couple of items that are on the consent agenda that are annual contracts that had no changes. All right, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, the consent agenda is approved. Oh, next we have gifts to buildings. Ms. Hutchinson?
Yes, we have one gift made by the John H. Schneider Family Foundation, Inc., Jeffersonville High School, to establish and contribute to John Poole Scholarship Foundation in the amount of $2,000. I move that we accept this donation and gifts to building.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hutchinson, and thank you, Ms. Perkins. Any questions or comments? All those in favor of approving the gifts to buildings, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, those gifts are approved. Our first action item is maybe I'm looking at the wrong one. No. Dr. Rhonda Rue's counseling contract. Dr. Hartledge?
Yes. As part of the school improvement grant that River Valley has received, this is to support technical assistance requirements. Dr. Rose will provide leadership sessions and principal coaching with the administrative team at River Valley Middle School for 4 days throughout the school year. Dr. Rose will charge $1,000 per day for on-site consulting and any additional communication requested by the school. The contract has been reviewed by April Bellmaker.
Thank you. Board, may I have a motion, please?
Madam President, I move we approve the counseling contract with Dr. Rhonda Rue's.
All right, thank you, Dr. Clayton. May I have a second?
A second.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hutchinson. Any questions or comments on this contract? Okay. All right, all those in favor of approving the counseling contract with Dr. Rhonda Rose, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, that item is approved. Next, we have the Dave Nagel Corwin contract.
The oral compliment.
Uh-oh, my bad. The Coral,
Number 2, Ms. Wrighthouse.
okay, I'm sorry, the Coral Company is for Charlestown High School, the Sue Wright House.
Yes. Ms. Sue Wrighthouse has been contracted for the last 4 years to assist as a piano accompanist at Charlestown High School. As the accompanist, she will assist with musical duties to help support the choral teacher.
All right, board may I have a motion, please.
Madam President, I move that we approve the contract for the choral accompanist for Charleston High School.
Thank you, Ms. Hutchinson. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. Any questions or comments about this contract? All right, all those in favor of approving the choral accompanist for Charlestown High School for 2021, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that item is approved. Next, we have the Dave Nagel Corbin Contract.
Yes. Last year, Dave Nagel presented the Visible Learning System as a professional development for Greater Clark County School staff. The Visible Learning System improvement model of professional learning is based on one simple belief: every student should experience at least 1 year's growth over the course of 1 year. The power of visible learning research under John Hattie lies not only in helping educators understand how much impact each influence has on student achievement, but also in understanding impact relative to other influences. Educators who understand which influences have the greatest impact on student achievement can make strategic decisions based on evidence to maximize their time, energy, and resources. As we charter the unfamiliar territory of a blended learning platform this year, we turn to the expert researchers to remind us that the focus is not technology, learning management systems, or devices, but that the focus remains on student learning. This year, we have developed a professional development plan to provide sustained support via our Leadership Academy, which will remind us what effective teaching and learning entail, and then wraps it around a digital learning framework. We will use the Distance Learning Playbook by Doug Fisher, Nancy Fry, and John Hattie as the foundation of our work. The PD plan is outlined in the table below. This programming will support all teachers K through 12 in the district as well as administrators. The total cost of the professional development sessions and resource books will be $16,249.95 and will be paid for with federal Title IV funding, which the purpose of that is professional development.
All right, thank you. Board, may I have a motion, please?
I move to approve the Dave Nagel Corbin contract as recommended by the superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Buckwalter. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Perkins. Any questions about this contract?
So the teachers will get professional growth points too with this, and it will help.
Yes, it's basically, it's sort of planned so that it supports teachers.
Right.
It also then supports the administrators on how to support the work of the teachers that is being learned. And so it really impacts both administrators and teachers
Right.
in their instructional practice.
Right, and then just for renewing their license and all that.
Yes.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Perfect.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I'd like to make one comment if I could. As Dr. Clayton has pointed out in the past, sometimes we have to take bits and pieces and make a judgment based on sometimes a bit of a piece whenever it may affect the whole. And that will be the basis of my vote tonight.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments on this? Okay. All those in favor of approving the Dave Nagel Corbin contract, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
All right. And our next item is the Shannon Havens Consulting Agreement.
Yes, Board. Sharon Havens will provide virtual instruction to students who are choosing a My School online option. The students who would be serviced by Sharon are special education students who receive 5 hours or more of support throughout the traditional school day. Sharon will consult with classroom teachers and will provide appropriate instruction to meet individual needs of students in a virtual format. Sharon is a retired Greater Clark special education teacher with many years of expertise in her field. She is up to date on current technology practices and is capable of providing instruction through various platforms. Sharon will be paid at a rate of $40 per hour, and the cost will be paid for with federal funds.
Thank you. Board, may I have a motion, please?
Madam President, I move that we approve the consulting agreement with Sharon Higgins as submitted by superintendent.
Thank you, Dr. Clayton. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. Any questions or comments about this consulting agreement?
Did she just recently retire? Did she work at the alternative school?
She's at River
She
Valley.
was at River Valley.
She's in River Valley.
She was a quarter last
Yeah, she was there before.
She was in Port, that's all. That's all.
Roughly how many kiddos is she gonna be working with, just out of curiosity?
I'm not certain. It depends on kind of what.
What the needs are, right?
Yeah, what the needs are, and then sometimes that changes but because they're my school online, trying to find people who have that much time available in their day to devote to virtual, it was hard with our current
I bet.
staffing.
And
We're trying to fill in some gaps, for.
I got you.
kids.
Who is she gonna give her data to?
She will work with the teachers within those buildings,
I see.
to work with them, and the special education supervisor
Or the
is
teacher
assigned
record?
to that
Okay,
position.
perfect.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor of approving the Sharon Havens consulting agreement, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. We have no public comments on non-agenda items. Board comments? Ms. Gilkey? Ms. Perkins? Mr. Hawkins?
Unfortunately, our Air Force ROTC team has left. I would like to thank them also for their service and for their future service that I anticipate many of them will be providing for our nation. And I think that we need to keep that in mind, that these young gentlemen and ladies will be putting themselves in harm's way to protect our freedoms.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. Mr.
I
Buckwalter?
just want to say thanks to teachers and principals and parents and cafeteria folks I know it's been a hard start, and I just want to give them a shout and say thanks very much.
Dr. Clayton?
I'd like to echo that same comment, to thank everyone to really work so hard to do the things that we need to do to keep the kids in school and at home to get their education.
Ms. Hutchinson?
I would like to echo what Bill said about our JROTC. It was nice to have board salutes again and to be able to recognize them. Jeff High runs a great program there. And what Mr. Buckwalter said about our teachers and students, I know that they've been doing a lot and expecting a lot of themselves and each other, and the staff's really stepping up. A lot of people are pitching in and doing things they wouldn't normally do just to help out, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Hutchinson. Same here. I think it's real important to focus on the positive and what we're seeing that is positive out there. Teachers and staff members posting pictures of themselves at school and posting a lot of the things that are going on at school. And those are, we need a lot of that positive, and you can see they're going above and beyond what's ever been asked of them before, and we really appreciate it.
I have a couple things. Number one, I want to start with honoring Roberta Morgan. As many of us know her, Roberta Johnson, passed away this week. Taught for me at Parkview as a choir teacher, music teacher, excellent teacher. It's a very sad situation, but just wanted to honor her, and what she did here in Greater Clark was nothing but positive, throughout the district. Ended up her career out at New Washington, so just wanted to take a moment to honor her real quick. Also wanted to update the board on sort of where we're at. Tomorrow will be 2 weeks into the school year. And we're trying to manage this situation the best we can. I also want to thank our teachers, all of our certified staff, classified staff. They've done an excellent job working through this. And it hasn't been easy. It seems like we get sidetracked daily, whether it's teachers, parents, all of us up here. As soon as we start to think about talking about academics or something, a big picture item, we get a phone call or a text or an email that we've had a case somewhere, and we're managing it, we're working through it. I will tell you, there's been some bumps in the road, but we expected that. We expected cases to happen. Certainly in working with the health department, they expected it to happen. Probably our toughest thing right now that we're managing is just staffing buildings where we have a significant number of staff being quarantined. Not so much that they've tested positive, but they're being quarantined and we don't have enough subs or paras to cover it. And that's what happened at Pleasant Ridge. That's what we were worried about at Jeff High. And moving forward, frankly, that's what, we'll be quite worried about moving forward. As we get more cases throughout the communities and in schools, will we have the staff to cover buildings? And if we don't, then we're going to have to close down that building for a week or 2 weeks. And we'll work with the health department on that, but I think you'll see more of that as we move through this. I mean, just to be upfront and honest with you. I did want to share some numbers with you. Right now, we currently have quarantined, at the moment, it's a snapshot, of course. We have 58 staff quarantined right now. Now, that includes all classified and certified staff. So 58, which is about 4% of our staff are quarantined. Students, there are 210 students quarantined right now, which is about 3% of those students that are attending school in person. And to me, that speaks to the fact that our students, our staff, are doing a good job with this. I mean, when you look at the number of cases we've had with essentially 7,300 students attending in person, to have that situation is not too bad. They're managing it pretty well. Our principals have done a great job of setting things up in their schools. And our students, I've been very happy with how they're handling this. They're wearing masks, they're trying to social distance, they're following the policies and protocols. So, we're going to continue to move forward. Obviously we're going to work with the health department daily. And if we see a situation where we need to act, whether it be a school or a community or a classroom, in terms of quarantining, or shutting down a school for a week or 2 weeks, then we're going to do that. And I think we've shown that in what we've done with Pleasant Ridge. We're going to make sure we err on the side of caution with our students and staff. So one other piece of data I want to share with you in terms of the learning models, where we're at right now. Right now, with 10,380 students, I think it's 10,388 students in Power School as far as enrollment. We're looking at 68% of the students are traditional in-person, 32% are virtual. That's where we sit today. So I just wanted to share that with the board. We'll try to keep you updated as we move through this, but right now, one of the biggest concerns is probably just making sure we have the staff to cover buildings, because when a case pops up and you have to quarantine certain people, certain staff, it could make us run short. Because we're short on subs and paras, it complicates things. So just wanted to let you all know that.
How are we doing on our bus drivers? Chad, did you?
So far, so good.
Yeah, couldn't be more happy about their commitment, because they're being asked a lot.
I know, and they're doing a great job.
They are, the typical time off, but nothing nothing's surprising, so they're doing a great job as a group.
Thank you.
Mr. Lawton, on those 210 students, are we seeing more this second week, or were most of them the first week, or is it kind of half and half?
It's about half and half. Yesterday afternoon was an active time period, and Friday afternoon was an active time period. So Yeah, I'll be honest with you, we were monitoring the Charlestown community very closely this morning and today, because we were worried about some more staff having to be quarantined. And there was a potential today that, we potentially were going to have to close the Charlestown schools for a week or two, just to settle things down and let those quarantines, go through so that the staff could come back. Thankfully, that calmed down today, and we're fine with staying open tomorrow and monitoring that situation out there, day to day. But we are ready to take quick action on that if we need to.
Mark, is this something where that parents are being tested also with the children, and then they find out that?
Yeah, I think what's going on is as soon as you have one student, be in school and be positive, and then you're quarantining up to 20, 25, 30 other individuals, whether it be student or staff, all of them are going to get tested, or most all of them are going to get tested. And then you have situations where that, multiplies into a whole other level of, well, did their spouse teach for us in another school, and now they have to be quarantined, and it just compounds, multiplies out to where all of a sudden you started with 25, 30 being quarantined, and by the end of the night or the next morning, you have another 10, 15 on top of that.
What are the guidelines now as far as how long they need to be quarantined?
If they've been exposed, it's 14 days. Now, if they're showing symptoms, then it's 10. You get into that 10-day period where they can't show symptoms, whether it be the fever or coughing or anything like that. If they test positive, it's a 10-day minimum, and the symptoms need to be gone. So the CDC did change that.
But if they test negative, they still have to quarantine if
Yes.
they've been potentially
If
exposed.
they've been asked to quarantine, the health department gives them a date, 14 days out, and they have to stay out for that 14 days.
Like, right?
I'm sorry, they bring that back to school?
Yep.
Yeah, football, that's.
Elementary kids are okay with it?
Yes, yep. The schools I've been in, the kids are wearing masks. I mean, you're having some struggles with those younger kids at younger levels, but they're wearing masks and they're not fighting, the staff at all on that. They're really doing a good job of following policies and procedures. Yep.
Just for clarification, because I know I've fielded some questions. My understanding is if the person has been exposed to a tested positive case, then it's only the first degree connection that are quarantined.
Correct.
So it doesn't go down to the second or third degree.
Right.
Unless those people end up showing positive, and then it becomes first degree connection.
Yeah, in our Zoom meeting last Friday with Dr. Yazel, we asked that question several times in various ways and got that same answer.
Okay.
Every time that, well, one would think maybe you have to go down the line, quarantine everybody. That's not the case.
Thank you.
Our staff and I think our parents did a good job of training our little ones, because I agree with you that it seems that the little ones are keeping them on and it's not a big issue. But what I'm disheartened by is the fact that personally, I think our schools they're probably the safest place for our kids right now. Because just over the weekend, there was all kinds of Parks Department activities. The kids did wear their masks, and their birthday parties, and there's, shopping.
Yeah. Travel baseball.
Travel baseball,
Yes, they're out.
all kinds of things, and, I wish that we could get the attention of the folks that are sponsoring these things to realize that they're bringing things to our schools.
Well, I can tell you from my perspective, I have no regrets in terms of offering us working together to offer an in-person option for our parents. To me, the social emotional part of this, the kids, how they've been impacted with having to be at home for the last 6 months, and now having the opportunity to go to school and get that social emotional piece. to me is huge. I mean, I have a good friend in Florida that has a 6 and 9-year-old, talked to him the other day because they're getting ready to start down there. And, you know, I asked him, what are you going to do? You send your children back in person? And his answer was absolutely, because he said his 9-year-old is a social emotional mess and his 6-year-old is not far behind because they just need to be back in school around other people. And so I realize parents, you know, they want the option, and we gave them the option, and I think, you know, we're doing a good job with it, you know, but there's going to be bumps in the road, you know, with moving forward.
I know the numbers are scaring people, but again, I don't believe we're the ones that are causing that. This is not.
Well, I'll give you one more piece of data. I think we've had 4 students, at least 4 or 5, that have tested positive that were my school online students that haven't been in our building. You know, so, I mean, read into that what you want to read into it, but, I mean, they're home, they're my school online.
Well, you know, when you look at that, you got parents going off to work, they think everything's okay, they come down sick, and they're really not quarantining themselves in their homes, and then the kids pick it up. Teresa, just what you were saying, I decided to do some driving around. I've seen kids out with no mask down by the bridge. I have to say that I went past the family reunion. They said it's my own family, but I didn't go in. But I noticed that, my goodness, this is very serious. Believe it or not, until you get it, it's always, well, I didn't think it was for real. You're on your deathbed. I don't think we need to get to that point. I think we need to be serious about it. And I want to compliment again, we have been ahead. And I want to applaud the administration. You have been ahead of the game. Someone called themselves making a project Greater Clark about, well, the president threatened to hold funds. Well, we were planning in May to come back because we're ahead of the situation. He made a statement at the latter part of June. So it's not that. The thing that we need to understand is that if we stay ahead of this thing, we can make it. But we have to make it together.
And that's the slippery slope, right?
That's it.
Until we can get that message out.
Well, I think you guys probably read the memo I sent to you. Now the state is saying that same thing, that they're going to withhold 15% of the funds for the state allotment if you don't have an in-person option. You know.
When did they pass that?
Yeah. Well, you remember last spring, the governor came out and said that he would not do that. He would fully fund schools, but now the Senate, the state Senate and legislature is saying otherwise. That if you don't offer an in-person option, we're going to withhold 15% of your funding. So, not that we made our decisions because of that, but it's certainly something that we got to pay attention to.
Well, apparently we didn't make our decision.
No.
Because we had kids at home.
Yeah.
So.
I'd like to point out what Ms. Fitzpatrick pointed out. We do need to keep this in a positive perspective, though, I think, is the numbers you pointed out. We're only at 4% of our staff. Now, 58 sounds like a lot to me, but realizing that it's only 4% of our staff, I mean, that's less than the positivity rate in some of the test results that are coming back.
Right.
Same thing with the students. We're at 3% of our students, which is even less than our staff. So, I mean, our staff is exposed to more students, so therefore they may pick up more, things like that, but the numbers might be a little bit higher. But I mean, all told, the numbers are exceptionally well, I believe, going exceptionally well for our school corporation. I think as a society, we need to also recognize that we may look at the total number of cases and be more concerned about that, but as we look at the population, total population, it's not as widespread as some people might fear it could be.
Now, did you just stumble by that family reunion, or were you invited?
No, I forgot about it. That's what my wife said.
I'm sorry.
Is that a family reunion? I said, this first Saturday off. No, we've been traveling out this looking at things, that's what old folks do nowadays. Drive around.
Well, I'll tell you, we'll continue to keep you informed. I mean, one of the things I wanted to also tell you tonight is sort of our procedure is as soon as we know that there's a positive case in a school, whether it be staff or student, we immediately, Teresa Stingle immediately starts working with the principal in that school and the health department to figure out who has been exposed, you know, who has been within 6 feet of that student or staff member for more than 15 minutes. And anybody that falls in that category is immediately notified that they have to quarantine. You know, the principal, Teresa, some of the team up here help make those calls. We work with the health department all through that. Then after we get that final number, we try to alert the board, you know, and we try to then make sure we're good with the health department too in terms of our numbers and then move on from there. But it does take an extensive amount of time in terms of the principal's time and administrator's time. You know, if you just have one exposure, you're talking about potentially 2 or 3 hours. That now the administrative team has to stop what they're doing and start making phone calls, you know, and make sure those parents know what's going on and then the other thing that's done as soon as we have, you know, final confirmation where we've made all the phone calls to parents on the quarantines, that's when the principal puts out a school messenger message to the parents, letting them know what's going on. And we'll continue to do that.
One other thing, I see corporations like Kentucky Farm Bureau, Humana, Kindred, a lot of national and multinational corporations, and we as a corporation are doing more to actually limit the spread of this than any other organization I've seen. We're actually out there doing it. We've got signs up, but a lot of organizations only have a sign up and that's all they're doing. We're actually out there using this stuff, you know, asking people and telling people you've got to wear these or you can't come in, you know, those kind of things. And we are, just for the public out there to understand and listen, we are doing more than many other organizations are doing.
Chad, can I ask you, how the kiddos getting on the bus, how have our bus drivers been doing? I know they're taking temperatures. Have they had to turn anybody away?
We've had 2 or 3, and it's usually because of the screening question. I don't think we've had one because of a temperature check. It's usually because they'll ask if anybody in the home has had COVID.
Gotcha.
You have someone say, yeah, my sister or my brother, and then we make a quick call. We've not had to bring, knock on wood, we've not had to bring a kid onto the bus after answering one of those questions negatively. We've been pretty successful getting hold of the parent.
Great. Thank you.
My friend back there at JPD, are you practicing safe distancing?
No, I did not know.
Well, I don't want to miss you, okay?
One other thing I was going to mention too, you know, in our meeting last Friday with Dr. Gazel, there's been a lot of talk in the media throughout the United States, Indiana, about positivity rates, you know, and what's the threshold that you shut schools down, things of that nature. Some counties in the state of Indiana have said, you know, just put it out there that, you know, once it reaches 10%, they're shutting the schools down. We asked Dr. Gazel about that here in Clark County, and he wouldn't put a number on that. You know, he said, we're going to continue to manage this, you know, community by community, you know, school by school, and he's not going to put a you know, hard number down there, 10%. You know, and so we did make sure to ask him that because of what we were seeing in other parts of the state of Indiana, and that's what he said. You know, we continue to work together and work through this. So it was, you know, an interesting discussion with him on continuing to move forward. Well, we have one more thing we want to show. As you know, in our contract with ProMedia, one of the things that we're working on is our new website. And we want to at least bring that up and show it to everybody. Much cleaner, user-friendly, and I think it looks really nice.
Oh, sorry, I
I,
said that.
I think our, if you want to go all the way down,
Go
sure.
ahead.
Our next steps are to start working with individual schools on their website, and get pictures of staff and their contact information, whether it be email or phone extension, and what they teach. And we want to make sure when a parent goes to our website, number one, it's user-friendly and easy to find information. And find emails and teacher emails that they can contact, so.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Now Maple's right there yet, they're still working on the elementary. They're just now starting
Oh, okay.
on the elementary, that's why it's there even though,
There was another place on there where it showed all the schools just to click on,
yeah.
and Maple and Springfield were already off. the
Someone
site.
caught it there, so yeah, we're slowly, when people are looking at stuff, so yeah.
Is this live for the public right now?
Yeah, yeah. If you go into gccschools.com, you'll see it, so. The old one is still available right now because of, the school, the other schools.
All right.
So you don't wanna, if you sound like, here's you guys at school board. And now, so just to give you an idea, so they click on you and that takes you to the email, to your emails, so. Here's the live stream, the board meeting live stream, so right on the board page, like we didn't put on the last one, so. But yeah. So navigate it in your free time. And let me know if you have issues on something, because then we're good, that's how we're getting.
We're trying to
Yeah.
sort through it and
Yeah.
make it clean.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And up top there, you can see green means we're open. If that ever
Yeah.
goes to red, that's our little indicator for students and parents. If they go to the website, look at the color of that button, and they'll know what's going on as a district.
That applies for snow days as well, or weather delays?
Yeah. Cool.
That's it.
Anything, Renee?
Yeah. That was it.
All right, board.
Madam President, I'll move that we adjourn.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Ooh, very much so.
We are adjourned.